3 hours till kickoff, and Ohio State, man, is getting their injury excuses all lined up. Sad.
Even if your team's not in the same place, your work can't.
With the Venture X card.
But we had a hurt player, Woo. I haven't seen a single Florida State fan running around going, well, you know, we're going to lose because, you know, because Jordan Travis is limping. Jordan Travis ain't even playing. Florida State man don't care. Ohio State man need to toughen up. It's November. People are injured.
Apple gift card.
Oh, shut the hell up. Apples are a toy for children and old people. What a great day. Rivalry week. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, if I haven't told y'all already. Good to see everybody in here this morning. Welcome to the last college kickoff show of the regular season for 2023. Time flies. Time flies. Week 13. If you include week 0, that's 14 Saturdays worth of the rigged wheel. How many winners did we have out of 14 weeks? How many winners did we have out of 14 weeks? Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. God almighty. Y'all can't pick one game right. Four. Y'all are pitiful. Got another chance today, though. All right, we've got some great games today. This is a lot of people's favorite weekend of the college football season. It's probably my favorite weekend, too. I like opening weekend, not week 0. Well, I mean, I like week 0. But as far as favorite weekends go, opening weekend, that Labor Day weekend where games start on Thursday and you get, Thursday night games, Friday night games, games all day Saturday, a Sunday night game, a Monday night game. That's a great weekend, too. We usually have a couple of big non-con games that we don't get to see very often. It's the first full week of college football. It's the first week you get to see your team play in most cases, unless you were one of the handful of teams that played the week before in week 0. And it's just, you've been waiting 8-9 months. I absolutely love that first full weekend of college football leading into Labor Day. But rivalry weekend, I think, is my favorite weekend in all of college football. I love Thanksgiving. I love the holidays. It's, of course, the start of the holiday season. You have Thanksgiving on Thursday. You've got games starting really Tuesday and Wednesday, but Thursday night, the Egg Bowl. Couple of great games last night. Well, ended up not being great games. They were all blowouts, but, Texas beat the absolute soul out of the Texas Tech Crimson Tide. Oregon beat the absolute soul out of the Oregon State Crimson Tide. Penn State beat Michigan State real bad. And then, of course, today, just an entire slate of games starting at noon with the game. And I mentioned this in the video, the prediction video yesterday, but, Ohio State fans and Michigan fans run around every single year acting like this is the biggest game in college football every single year and nothing else matters. And this game is the biggest rivalry, the best game, the most meaningful. And a lot of times they're full of shit. Now, to Michigan and Ohio State fans, yeah, this game is always the biggest game of the year. But to the rest of the college football world, this is not always the biggest college football game of the year. A lot of times it's just another rivalry game, another great game that we look forward to watching, but nowhere near the best game of the year. This is the game this year. This is the biggest game of the college football season, and not just because both teams are undefeated. Winner wins the Big Ten East. Winner goes to the Big Ten championship game. Winner most likely wins the Big Ten because the Big Ten West is garbage, and the winner gets a playoff spot. All that makes this game huge, obviously. But then on top of all that, you've got all the outside stuff that's going on this year around this game. Ryan Day losing 2 in a row to Michigan. Of course, people not happy about that on the Ohio State side. Feels like there's a lot of pressure. I'm going to be honest. It feels like all the pressure in this game is on Ohio State. Having lost 2 years in a row, Ryan Day under a lot of heat. But then you've got on the Michigan side, the entire cheating scandal, the investigation, the Connor Stallions, Jim Harbaugh being suspended now for the second time this season. This will be Jim Harbaugh's 6th game that he's been suspended for this season. That's half of Michigan's games. So he's out. we're going to sue, the court case. Michigan backs down at the last minute. There's just a lot going on around this game. Never mind the fact that they're both in the top 5. They're both undefeated. Winner likely headed to the playoffs. Loser not. I don't think we're headed for a situation like we saw last year. I don't think any conference, including the Big Ten or the SEC, is getting 2 teams in this year. You just don't have enough bad conference championships. In order for a conference to get 2 teams in, you need multiple 2-loss conference champions. And it looks like we might not have any 2-loss conference champions, never mind multiple. Start with the Pac-12. You're going to have Oregon versus Washington. Most people expect Oregon to win that game, but no matter who wins that game, it's not a 2-loss conference champion. So the winner of that game is getting into playoffs, Oregon and Washington. The Big 12, there is a possibility of a 2-loss conference champion. You've got Texas playing most likely Oklahoma State. If for some reason Oklahoma State were to win that game, then that, of course, would free up a playoff spot. But Texas is likely to roll there. So you got Texas taking up a spot. In the ACC, you've got Florida State versus Louisville. Florida State 0 losses, Louisville 1 loss. So whoever wins the ACC is either going to be undefeated or just 1 loss. And then, of course, with the SEC, you've got Bama and Georgia. Bama with 1 loss, Georgia with no losses. So there's just not enough. There's not even a possibility of having enough 2-loss conference champions for the SEC or the Big Ten to get 2 teams in. So this game is just absolutely huge today. Just absolutely huge. From a college football fan perspective who doesn't have a rooting interest, in other words, I'm not a Michigan fan or an Ohio State fan. Neither are the majority of you. There are some Michigan and Ohio State fans in here, obviously. But if you're just a college football fan and neither one of these teams are your favorite team, you can just sit down and enjoy this game. I mean, this is going to be a great game. And, of course, we have to state the obvious here. But this is a win-win situation for Uncle Lou, this game here. If Michigan loses, well, the cheating is exposed. Now that you can't cheat, you can't beat Ohio State, your season is over. Jim Harbaugh's never coaching there again. You're getting fired. What a disgrace. What a disaster. You ought to be ashamed. Blah, 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 right? But if Ohio State loses, oh, my God, you've lost 3 games in a row to Michigan. This time you let them beat you without a head coach. So you got that whole thing. So either the loser of this game is getting pounded for months, regardless of who the loser ends up being. So win-win situation for Uncle Lou, LouTube, and, of course, for the Your Season Is Over video tomorrow. Just a massive, you can't overstate the importance of this game. I don't fall into the trap, like I said, where this is the biggest game every single year, no matter what. Yeah, if you're a Michigan or Ohio State fan, yeah, but look, some years this is just another game, just another rivalry game. I mean, that's just the way it is. Auburn and Alabama fans think the Iron Bowl is the biggest game every single year, and it is to them, right? I'm not knocking the Iron Bowl. It's a huge game, and to them, it's the biggest game of the year every year. But look at the Iron Bowl this year. If you're not an Auburn or an Alabama fan, raise your hand if you think that's the biggest game of the year. It's not even the biggest game of its own time slot, right? I mean, Auburn's just terrible. Bama should run over them. There have been years where the Iron Bowl was a huge game, a nationwide, coast to coast, but not this year. But for the Ohio State-Michigan game, this just the stakes couldn't be any bigger than they are today. Congratulations to the teams that have already won this week during Rivalry Week. Going back to Thursday, you had Ole Miss knocking off Mississippi State. Texas last night beat Texas Tech. Oregon beat Oregon State. What else was last night? Penn State beat Michigan State. Iowa beat Nebraska in brutal fashion yesterday. Just brutal. Looked like we were, first of all, Iowa missed 2 field goals in the first half. We had 2 field goals blocked in the first half. And it looked like we were headed to overtime. The game was tied 10-10 with under a minute to go. Nebraska's got the ball at midfield, thinking, we're headed to overtime here. No. Nebraska throws an interception with under a minute to go. Iowa returns it to like the 30-yard line, runs one play. The second play, they just ran to the middle of the field and fell down to center the ball. And then on the last play of the game with 2 seconds to go, Iowa's field goal kicker comes out and kicks a game-winning field goal. Game over. Just absolutely brutal for Nebraska. Nebraska hit 5 wins 4 games ago. They haven't made a bowl game since 2016. They got to 5 wins in October, and they lost their last 4 games of the year. And they're going to miss a bowl again. It's just absolutely brutal for the Nebraska fans. Missouri just absolutely destroyed Arkansas yesterday. I guess they had to. I don't know. And then today, of course, full slate of games. But welcome to the College Football Kickoff Show. How's everybody doing? Again, happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has had a great weekend so far. Got to spend some time with family and friends, eat you some good food, watch some good football, all that kind of thing. Maybe you did some shopping yesterday. Uncle Lou did. Uncle Lou braved the mall yesterday. Can you believe that? With the temperament I have, Uncle Lou went out and braved the mall yesterday on Black Friday. Now, I wasn't one of these nincompoops that went first thing in the morning or anything like that. I watched the Iowa-Nebraska game at noon. When it ended, I went to the mall for a few hours in the afternoon. And it actually wasn't that bad, to be honest. It really wasn't that bad. So I managed to do okay. I don't think I yelled at anybody the whole time we were there. Did I yell at anybody at the mall? You did. No, I didn't. I didn't yell at anybody at the mall. So that's pretty good there. Came home last night, did the live stream for the primetime games. So I've had a good Thanksgiving weekend so far, and I hope all of you have too. And, man, I am really looking forward to today. Like I said, I think this is my favorite weekend of college football. All the big in-state rivalry games, playoff implications, conference title implications, just a lot of things on the line today. Alabama fans rooting for 4, 5, 6, 7 different teams every single weekend, and every single team they're rooting for keeps losing. You know, Alabama fans running around last night rooting for Oregon State. Oregon State lost. They were rooting for Texas Tech. Texas Tech lost. Who are they rooting for today? Well, Alabama fans will be rooting for Florida today. Alabama fans will be rooting for Kentucky today. What else? I guess Alabama fans will be rooting for Georgia Tech. I don't know. Washington State. Alabama fans got their Washington State hats on today. Yeah, pretty sure that you do. Pretty sure that you do. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation that Alabama finds themselves in. And by unfortunate, I mean hilarious to all of us. But the reality of the situation is Bama needs help. Bama needs help. Just winning is not good enough for Bama because Bama wasn't good enough to win enough games this year. That's why. So they need other teams to lose, you know. They need other teams to lose. And so far, they're just stacking up giant L's, you know. Texas was going to lose last week. They didn't. Texas was going to lose yesterday. They didn't. Oregon State's going to beat Washington and Oregon. They told me Oregon State was going to beat Washington and Oregon. Wow. Can you imagine? Instead, Oregon State didn't beat either one of them. Dang. You pull for Kentucky over Louisville. Just pathetic. You got to have Florida Gator. You got Billy Napier. Just think. Alabama's fate could be in the hands of Billy fucking Napier. Damn. Boy, y'all are down bad, man. Y'all are down real bad. The 12-team playoff will be here next year, and then maybe Alabama can participate in the postseason again. But, man, watching Alabama fans run around the internet rooting for 8, 9 different teams is weird, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Bama needs help. Bama needs help. They don't control their own destiny, you know? Let me give you some counseling here, Bama, man. all this running around, oh my God, I hope Oregon loses. I hope Washington loses. I hope Florida State loses. I hope Texas loses. I hope Louisville loses, all this kind of stuff. You're wasting your time, okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just watch the games, enjoy the games, enjoy your win over Auburn in the Iron Bowl, okay? Quit worrying about if these other teams are losing and, well, if this team loses and we move up to here. Quit worrying about all that, okay? Number one, the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game is still going to be ranked higher than you tomorrow or Tuesday when the rankings come out. Boy, that's going to give them something else to be mad about, ain't it? The loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game is still going to be ranked higher than Bama. That's number one. Number two, you're not beating Georgia. None of this stuff you're going on and on about matters at all. It doesn't matter at all. Look, you want to know something? Texas could have lost yesterday. Oregon could have lost yesterday. What else? Texas, Oregon, Washington could lose today. Louisville could lose today. Florida State could lose today. All of that could happen. All of that could happen. You're still not getting into the playoffs. You're losing to Georgia next week. You're going to be a 2-loss team again. So you're stressing yourself out with all these never-ending what-if scenarios. It doesn't matter. You're not good enough to win your games. It doesn't matter what other teams do. Not for you. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. Looks like the boycott didn't work. Where's the Michigan man at? I don't think the boycott worked. Worked about as well as any other boycott you people have tried. Which is not to say it didn't work at all. Which is to say it didn't work at all. Nobody's going to show up at college game day. We're boycotting college game day. Because they reported that Michigan cheated. Michigan did cheat, man. Mad at ESPN. These people. You cheated. I'm reporting that you cheated. Boycott me. Michigan, man. Leave game day alone. Boycott Lou. I'm reporting that Michigan cheated right now. Do something about it. Let's take a look at the list of games today. What's coming on, when it's coming on, what channel. We got to figure out what we got to watch today. A lot of choices to be made, especially if you only have one TV. All right, starting at noon, Ohio State at Michigan, 2 versus 3, 12 o'clock on Fox. I feel like we've talked a ton about this game almost all season, but especially over the last couple of weeks. I did end up picking Michigan to win. I have no idea how this game is going to go. I will not bet one dime on this game. I'll talk about my bets in a few minutes. I've bet 4 games between Thursday and yesterday. I'll talk about that in a minute. I wouldn't bet one dime on this game. I don't have a clue how this game's going to go. I picked Michigan in the offseason. I've been leaning Michigan all during the season. I think over the majority of the season, Michigan has looked like the better team. But over the last couple of weeks, Michigan has not looked as good. Ohio State has looked good. Travion Henderson has looked amazing. We all know Marvin Harrison is Marvin Harrison. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think both these quarterbacks are below average. I don't think either one of these quarterbacks is going to have a very good game. I think it's going to be running game, line of scrimmage, defense, who gets off the field on third downs, those little things like that. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, one-possession game. I wouldn't bet a dime on it either way. I decided to stick with my Michigan prediction because Michigan's the home team. But I wouldn't bet a dime either way. I wouldn't bet a dime either way. Oh, thank you for the Cash App. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, rigged wheel coming up at the end of the show. So I think everybody knows about that. But any Cash App or PayPal donation to the show this morning gets your name added to the rigged wheel. It's just a wheel of names. And at the end of the show, we'll spin the wheel. If the wheel lands on your name, you can make a pick against the spread today. And see, what do we want to give away today? We'll give away $100 today, up to $100. We'll do we'll do 5 times your money up to $100. So you send 20. If you win, I'll send you 100. You send 10. If you win, I'll send you 50. If you get it right, if you get your pick right, I think everybody understands how that works. So that's Ohio State, Michigan, 12 o'clock on Fox. Kentucky at Louisville, in-state rivalry game here, SEC versus ACC. There are 4 of these matchups today. You've got Kentucky, Louisville, Clemson, and South Carolina, Florida, Florida State, and Georgia, Georgia Tech. The first one, Kentucky at Louisville, 12 o'clock on ABC. Louisville's still alive for the playoffs. They would need help, too, just like Bama would. Just winning out is not going to be enough for Louisville. They obviously would need several teams ahead of them to lose. But they do have a chance to be a one-loss Power 5 conference champion. So they need to win today at home against Kentucky, and then they need to find a way to beat Florida State next week in the ACC championship game. I did pick Louisville to win at home. I did pick Louisville to win this one at home. Texas A&M at number 14, LSU. This is just the Jaden Daniels hype parade at this point. If you watched the LSU game last week, then you already know LSU has one plan and one goal only, and that is to get Jaden Daniels as many numbers as they possibly can here at the end of the season. They had Jaden Daniels last week in a game against a group of 5 team, up 50 points, throwing touchdown passes with 5 minutes to go. Now, I don't think they'll ever be up 50 points in this game against Texas A&M, but the point is it's going to be the Jaden Daniels show. They are doing everything they can to try to win Jaden Daniels the Heisman. I do think LSU wins the game. I took Texas A&M in the points in my prediction video, though. I think it'll be a little closer. We'll take a look at the odds on all these games here coming up later in the show. Indiana at Purdue, believe it or not, is also an in-state rivalry game. And there's really nothing else to say about that game. Pittsburgh at Duke, 12 o'clock on the ACC network. Houston at Central Florida, 2 of the newcomers within the Big 12 there. Houston travels to take on Goose Malzoon and the Golden Knights of UCF. 12 o'clock on FS1. Navy on the road at SMU. SMU headed to the ACC next year. Moving into the early afternoon games now. UAB at North Texas, Georgia State at Old Dominion, Tulsa at East Carolina, Wake Forest at Syracuse comes on at 2 o'clock. CW Network. Shout out to the ACC. The worst conference in football. Or is it the Big 12? Which conference do y'all think is the worst this year, the ACC or the Big 12? It's one of those two. And before you argue with me about the ACC, I want you to keep in mind that something called Georgia Tech is in like 4th place in the ACC. That's how bad the ACC is. It's just complete garbage fire. Yeah. So that's it for the early game starting at noon. This will be the Patreon stream today, the 12 o'clock game. So those of you who are signed up over on the Patreon page, you know the deal. I'll post a link on Patreon around 11:50, 11:55. Just head on over to the Patreon page. You'll see the link posted at the top of the page. Click the link, and it will take you to the live stream for all the noon games. If you're not on the Uncle Lou Patreon page, I don't know what you're doing, and now would be a good time to get on there. We're going to do a lot of Patreon streams during bowl season. And then, of course, we'll have the New Year's Six and the playoffs and all that, too. So if you're not already on there, like I said, what are you doing? But you can fix that problem. There's a link in the description of this video, in fact, that will take you straight to the Patreon page without a problem. But, yeah, today's Patreon stream will be at noon, 12 o'clock. 3:30, I've changed my mind. Earlier in the week, I was going to do the YouTube stream at 3:30, and then I was going to not stream at all during prime time. Some of you know, most of you might know, I've talked about it all week, but I have to catch a plane at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So basically, as soon as the primetime games end tonight at 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever time it is, as soon as those end, instead of going to bed like a normal human being, I've got to sit down and do the Your Season Is Over video from like midnight to 3 in the morning. I have to leave my house at 3:15 this morning to go to the airport. So I was going to not stream the primetime games so that I could take that 3 or 4 hours while I was watching the primetime games and take care of any last minute things I need to take care of around the house to get ready to go out of town. But there's just too many good games on. There's just too many good games on tonight. So I'm going to try to, whatever it is I might have to do last minute, take care of whatever, I'm going to try to do that at 3:30. So I won't be streaming any of the 3:30 games today. I'm going to stream the noon games on Patreon, and then the primetime games on YouTube, which will start at 7 o'clock for the Florida State game, leading into Georgia Tech at 7:30. We'll get to the list in a minute. But anyway, so that's the streaming schedule for today. 12 o'clock on Patreon, 7 o'clock on YouTube, a last-minute change there. Anyway, let's get on with this. I doubt anyone cares about anything I just said anyway. 3:30 games. The Iron Bowl, Alabama at Auburn. I just don't have any. I understand the whole weird things happen speech that people like to give. I would be absolutely shocked if there's any outcome in this game other than Alabama winning by a lot. And it's not just because of how bad Auburn looked last week against New Mexico State. In fact, that part of the equation is kind of a trap. If that's all there was, I wouldn't put much weight in that. But, Alabama is still trying to prove something to the playoff committee. What? I don't know. But in their minds, they have something to prove. And, I know Hugh Freeze has beaten Saban a few times when he was at Ole Miss. He doesn't have what he needs to do it right now. He just doesn't. Their offense is just so bad. I think Alabama just absolutely rolls over them. In fact, we'll talk about it more when we get to when we look at the odds on these games, but Alabama minus the points is one of my favorite bets of the day. I like it so much I bet it like 5 days ago because I was afraid the line was going to go higher and higher and higher. So I went ahead and bet it 3 or 4 days ago at like 13.5 or something. But that's at 3:30, the Iron Bowl. Arizona at Arizona State. Arizona has a chance to go 9-3. Just completely out of nowhere. Shout out to Zona Tucson. He's the only Arizona fan that I really, really know. So congratulations to him. Just a great year for Arizona. And they got a chance to finish it off today with an in-state rivalry win against a pretty bad Arizona State team. 3:30 on ESPN. BYU at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has to win. This is a big game for Oklahoma State. Now, no one's going to watch it. Well, a handful of people will watch it. But Oklahoma State needs to win. Vanderbilt at Tennessee. 3:30 on the SEC Network. Boy, what happened to Tennessee? Poor Tennessee, man. They're so bad. They are so bad. Liberty at UTEP. Wow. UTEP by 100. Yep. Northwestern at Illinois, Wisconsin at Minnesota. Not a lot of great games on at 3:30. That's why I decided to switch it up. There's just not a lot of great games on. Even the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl might be unwatchable in the second half. It could just be a blowout. So that's another reason, or the main reason, I decided to switch the YouTube stream from 3:30 to 7. Washington State at Washington, 4 o'clock on Fox. Alabama fans going to have 2 TVs today. Boy, they pulling hard for Washington State. Not going to happen. Not going to happen, Gump. This is going to be the year where we just don't ever get that weekend of upsets. It's weird. It rarely happens. Usually you do get a whole bunch of upsets here and there. You have that one weekend where everything gets flipped on its head. It seems like every weekend people tell us this is the weekend it's going to happen, but every weekend it doesn't happen. And so far this week it hasn't happened. Oregon handled business last night. Texas handled business last night. Maybe Washington goes down for you, Bama man. I don't know. 4 o'clock on Fox. Moving into the primetime game. Speaking of going down for the Bama man, how about them Gators, Bama man? They pulling hard for Florida too. How many teams is Alabama rooting for today? Like 5? Wow. This might be the best chance of an upset all day. As far as the top teams go, the ones that Alabama needs to, lose so they can try to move up or whatever. It's not because I think Rodemaker's not any good at Florida State. I don't know if he's any good or not. We're going to find out today. Same thing for Florida, though. Their quarterback's out, too. Both these fan bases seem to not mind that their quarterback got injured last week and that they're having to play a backup this week. And the reason is both those backups looked good when they came in the game last week. But this game's at Florida. Rivalry game. And no matter how mad it makes the Florida State fans, Florida does have a chance to win because they have the more talented team. They are not a better team. They don't have a Keon Coleman. But Florida has a more talented roster than Florida State. And one of the ingredients that helps you pull off a big upset is when you have the more talented team. And Florida is more talented right now than Florida State. They're just shitting themselves every week. They're not quite on a Texas A&M level in terms of the disparity between talent and on-field performance, but it's close. It's close. Florida's a more talented team than Florida State. Notre Dame at Stanford. Notre Dame's a huge favorite in that one. Should roll over a pretty bad Stanford team. West Virginia at Baylor. West Virginia's another team, kind of like Arizona, just having a way better year than expected. Georgia at Georgia Tech at 7:30. I think Georgia wins by 3 touchdowns, but the spread's 24. So keep that in mind. Clemson at South Carolina. Again, ACC versus SEC here. Georgia could be the only SEC team that gets a win in these rivalry games today in terms of ACC versus SEC. Georgia's the only team that's favored. I'll tell you that. Florida's the underdog. South Carolina's the underdog. Kentucky's the underdog. Georgia will roll. Maybe South Carolina can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I don't know. Clemson seems to be playing pretty good ball right now. South Carolina doesn't. They barely beat Kentucky last week at home. Seems like Clemson wins here. A revenge game for Clemson from last year. Hard to imagine South Carolina pulling off the upset, but it could happen. That's at 7:30. Kansas at Cincinnati. Iowa State at Kansas State. North Carolina at NC State. I'm not sure how many people are going to watch that game, but that could be a good game. And then you got a couple of late games. Cal at UCLA. Fresno State at San Diego State. That might be a good one too. And then Colorado State at Hawaii. There you go. That is the rundown of games for today. When I was talking about Florida State in Florida, I wasn't looking at the comment section, but were there any Florida State fans in there in the comment section that were crying or saying, I don't know what I'm talking about, or pitching a fit because I told them Florida was the more talented team? Because when I said that in a video the other day, there was a bunch of Florida State fans in there who lost their mind when I told them that. Yeah. Thing is, it's not an opinion. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. I mean, you can look these things up, you know. Go ahead and look it up for yourself. Florida's a more talented. Look, I picked Florida State to win. I think Florida State will win. I'm just telling you, Florida's a more talented team because they are. It's just, I mean, you can look it up for yourself. But when you have the more talented team, you got a fighting chance at least sometimes to pull something like that off. I don't think Florida's going to win. Y'all know how I feel about Billy Napier. You think I got any trust in Billy Napier? Yeah, XRP. Yeah. I mean, the talent index doesn't tell you who's going to win a game. Gives you an idea of overall a team's potential, but that's about it. You know, look at Texas A&M. They got one of the top 5 most talented teams in the country. They can't barely make a bowl game. Talent index is just a measure of really potential. That's about it. Doesn't mean you're going to beat a less talented team, obviously. Who do you think's more talented between Florida and Utah? Florida. It's not close at all. Utah whipped them. Who do you think's more talented between Florida and Kentucky? Florida. And it's not close at all. And Kentucky whipped them. Who do you think's more talented between Florida and Georgia? Well, it's Georgia. Of course it's Georgia. Yeah. Georgia whipped them. Anyway. The Florida State-Florida spread was about 11 or 12 points last week. Now it's 6.5. Well, we'll see what it is today. It's been 6.5 this week. We'll see what it is today. You know what I just realized, too? I didn't take roll this morning. Let me apologize for that. That's on me. I apologize. I feel like I have dropped the ball here, and that's on me. And I don't really have an excuse. I got enough sleep. I feel good this morning. I'm on my second cup of coffee. I'm extremely excited for today. So I literally have no excuse other than just to tell you, hey, I fucked up. You know, that's on me. And I'm sorry. Now, I can take roll now. That doesn't erase my screw up. But it can help to mitigate it. So let's do that right now. Let's see who's here and hanging out this morning. And when I call your name, here's what I want to do. When I call your name, I want to know your height and weight, and then I want you to hit the thumbs up. I want you to type me your height and weight, and then I want you to hit the thumbs up. Can we agree to do that when I call your name? All right, here we go. Zeus Almighty. Height, weight, hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Pastor Dave, Kyle Jonas, D4, GF Sports, Ben Gunnels, Fox Mulder, Lucas Andrew, JD Downs, Gamecock Orbit, Let's Go Darwin, Zona Tucson. I was talking about you this morning, buddy. In a good way. Stingray, Pastor Dave, MC Carrie T, Irvin Williams, Denver Dunbar, Hogman, JD Downs, 5'10", 220. JD, the Slob Olympics are in March. Yeah. No, it's not raining here. It looks like it's sunny outside, actually. The blinds are closed, but it looks like it's sunny outside. Sergeant Gibby, G-Man, Cheryl 24, 6'7", 240 pounds. Darnell Washington, is that you? Is that you, Darnell? That must be Darnell Washington's troll account. 6'7", 240. Irvin Williams, 6'1", 160 pounds. Sir, I hope you ate a lot on Thanksgiving. What are you doing? 6'1", 160? Well, if you turn sideways, they can't see you, can they? MC Carry T, 5'8", 180. Third and Nate, 6'5", 275. And I can confirm, Nate's a big old boy. Texas Rocks, 6'1", 250. Texas Rocks, the Slob Olympics are in Panama City, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Jarvis says 6'4", 300. Uh-oh, we got our first $3 bill. We got our first $3 bill. And it's a Bama man. Jarvis, 6'4", 300. Jarvis, the Slob Olympics are going to be in Panama City Beach, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Come take my trophy, bitch. I won the Slob Olympics last year, and I'm not 6'4", 300. Come take my trophy. Track Day Pat, 5'11", 180. Boy, you don't know nothing about the Slob Olympics, Pat. You can keep your in-shape ass at home. Mike Nixon, 6'8", 270. Yep, that's what LeBron James is. That there. Charcoaled, 5'11", 210 pounds. You're a high school center, ain't you? You're like every high school center I've ever seen. 5'11", 210. That's got to be the average height and weight of every high. If you averaged out the height and weight of every high school center in the country, it would be that. Let me guess, you're agile. Six one 176. You might need to eat an extra sandwich today too, Ian. Joe D, 5'11", 240. What? Joe D is 5'11", 240. All right, Joe, Slob Olympics, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Panama City Beach. A Ohio, 6 feet 190. Yeah. You play wide receiver for Ohio State, don't you? That's the height and weight of every Ohio State wide receiver they have. 6 foot 194. Kirby's belt. That's acceptable. I'll take that. You either lift weights or you have a gut. Just a little bit of one. You're not fat, but you either lift weights and you got some muscle on you, or you got a little bit of a gut on you at 6 foot 194, though. Slightly pudgy. Yeah, that's okay. Slob Olympics, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, though, in Panama City. 5'6", 155. Zona Tucson, are you going to give us your height and weight, or do I have to beg? Travidon is 5'3", 122. Zona Tucson, 4'6", 155. Well, you already know, Zona. Slob Olympics, March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Panama City Beach. Ben Gunnell says he's over 6'2". So, like, maybe he's 7'2", maybe he's 6'3". I don't know. 200 pounds, though. Chance-tastic. 5'8", 204? Bro. And you're a Bama fan. Panama City Beach, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Slob Olympics. Swing by, pick up Jarvis on your way. Throw him in the bed of your truck or something. Kyle Jonas, 5'9", 215. Whoa, oh, whoa. Boy, a lot of y'all cooked an extra turkey on Thanksgiving. You can tell my audience is like 99.9% American. If you run a soccer channel and you do this height and weight thing, it's all 5'11", 165, 5'10", 172, 6'1", 185. Because it's all Europeans commenting. You get an American audience, it's 5'10", 240, 5'11", 260, 6'2", 280. Okay. All right. Let me get caught up on these super chats, and then we'll look at all the latest odds for the games today. Asher Thrasher, thank you for hitting the super chat this morning to help support the show, buddy. Biggs Mike. He says, good morning. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and go blue. I did have a good Thanksgiving. I hope y'all did too. I saw a lot of my family this year for Thanksgiving that I haven't seen since my mom died in some cases several years ago. But we had a good time. It was nice. The weather was good. It was cold in the morning, but it warmed up nice in the afternoon. And, yeah, we had a great time. I hope you did too. Kyle Jonas, thank you for the super chat. He says, Jarvis is delusional. Bama's not getting in the playoff unless Texas loses and they went out. Just wanted to show my support, Lou, and go Dogs. Thank you, Kyle. Cowpoke Ranch, thank you for the super chat. Michigan has the New England effect. Don't matter what they did for like 15 years. Nobody will ever trust that program again. That is an unfortunate side effect of what's going on at Michigan. Outside of the Michigan fan base, I'm just telling you. That, no one's going to trust Michigan, and no one is going to take the last 2.5 years seriously. They're just not. Now, maybe that matters to you as a Michigan fan. Maybe it doesn't. But when people talk about, let's just say Michigan does go 15-0 and wins the national title. It's going to be great. Be a great memory for you. You'll celebrate. No one can ever take those memories away. But down the road, whenever anybody's talking to you, they're going to say, well, yeah, you won the national title, but y'all got caught cheating. I mean, it's always just going to be, you won the national title, but it's just never going away. Never going away. Whoa, Todd99, thank you for the super chat. He says, why are people saying Florida will beat FSU without Jordan Travis? Have they not been watching the same Florida team we have? I think Florida's got a chance. I mean, it's only a 6-point line. 6.5. Well, we'll see what it is today. It was 6.5 during the week. Now, I did pick Florida State to win. I took Florida in the points, though. I think it could be close. Home game for Florida. Bowl eligibility on the line for Florida. A chance to ruin the season for their in-state rival. And it's not just the talent that Florida State is losing with the Jordan Travis injury. It's, just kind of the leadership, all that kind of thing that goes along with it. Interesting game. That game became a lot more interesting. I do think Florida State wins, but I would be extremely nervous if I was a Florida State. I would be way more nervous right now than I was 10 days ago. I will tell you that. Florida, did anybody watch Florida play Missouri last week? Florida looked pretty good. Missouri's a good team no matter how mad it makes you. I know Georgia beat Missouri, so you have to run around saying that means Missouri isn't any good. I understand that part of what goes on, but Missouri's a pretty good team. And Florida should have won that game. Florida kicked a field goal to take a lead with a minute to go in that game. And the defense let them down on fourth and Missouri got the ball back with under a minute to go. Florida's defense had them facing a 4th and 17. And they let Missouri convert a 4th and 17. The game Missouri doesn't convert that, the game's over. They convert the 4th and 17, and then like 2 plays later, they kick the game-winning field goal. Trading. Thank you for the super chat. Trading, good to see you in here. Eric C., thank you for the super chat. He says, F Tech. I don't have a Georgia Tech engineering degree, so I'm too illiterate to spell tech. Long-time listener had me at the first Tool intro and meltdown. Yeah, Tool Army, man. Tool Army. Good to see you in here, Eric. Trucking with Jeter says, let's go Gators. See? He's got a hope and a prayer. Or a hope, or maybe a hope and a thought. Or thoughts and thoughts. I don't know. Ricky Bobby, thank you for the super chat. He says, a Big Ten championship of Iowa, Ohio State will be a spread of 3 touchdowns and an over-under of 24. You know what? You're not far off. You're not far off. Might as well move that game to the morning time slot. You're not far off. I think the over-under will be high 20s, low 30s. And I do think the spread will be 17, something like that. Yeah. You're not far off at all. I don't think. Patrick McKeever says Carey may be the drummer for the Rush R50 tour. Is that true? All right, let's take a look at the odds on these games today. We got to figure out a way to make or lose some money betting on these games. Here's my gambling update for the week for those of you that like to troll me. Gonna have a hard time doing it, though. I've bet 4 games so far this week. I bet the Egg Bowl. I had Ole Miss minus, I think it was 9.5. They won by 10. So I was 1-0. I then bet the over on the Iowa-Nebraska game yesterday at noon, and the over should have hit. 2 missed field goals. The game should have gone to overtime, which would have guaranteed it was going to hit the over. Nebraska screwed everything up. I had over 24.5, and the final score was 13-10, a total of 23. So I missed. So that put me at 1-1. I got so mad at the ending of the Iowa-Nebraska game. I wasn't going to bet any of the 3:30 games. I really didn't like any of the lines for betting purposes anyway. So my plan was to not bet any of the 3:30 games. And I did the one thing you're never supposed to do, which is get mad at a loss and then try to make it up in a game. And I did that, and I took Missouri. And luckily, Missouri ended up blowing Arkansas out of the stadium. So I won that game. That put me at 2-1. And then last night, I took Oregon minus 14.5, and they just destroyed Oregon State. So I'm 3-1 on the week. The only game that I have bet so far today, I mentioned it earlier. I bet it a few days ago because I was afraid the line was going to move. Let's see if it did. No. I took Alabama minus 13.5 a few days ago over Auburn. So far, this is the only game I have bet today, Alabama and Auburn. Let's go through all these games. Let's see if we can figure out somewhere else for me to donk my money away. Ohio State at Michigan. Michigan minus 3. I already told you I wouldn't bet 1 dime on this game. I'm going to make a pick because that's what I do on the show here, but I'm telling you I'm not betting on. There's no chance I'm betting on this game. If I was going to bet on this game, I would bet under 45. I wouldn't even mess with the spread. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I'm not betting a dime on this game. That way I can watch the game and just enjoy it without having to worry about how many points somebody's winning or losing by or whatever. That's another thing. So I'm not betting this game. But because I think it's going to be such a close game, I did pick Michigan. I did pick Michigan to win. I'll take Ohio State in the 3 points for my pick purposes here and say Michigan wins by 2. Texas A&M and LSU. LSU minus 12. I like over 67.5. LSU's got no defense at all, so Texas A&M is going to score some points. And LSU is clearly trying to win the Heisman for Jaden Daniels, so I think they're going to score as many points as humanly possible to try to pad his stats. So this is a big over-under, but I actually like the over 67.5 in Texas A&M LSU. Kentucky and Louisville. Louisville minus 7.5. I think Louisville wins the game, but that hook scares me. I'll take Kentucky in the 7.5 points, but I think Louisville wins by a touchdown. Pitt at Duke. I like Duke minus 4.5 at home over Duke. Indiana and Purdue, no. Wake Forest at Syracuse. Syracuse got no coach. Don't matter. I'm going to take the fruit and lay the 2 points. Colorado at Utah. If you are going to actually bet on this game, you need to make sure one way or the other on Shedeur Sanders. He was hurt and pulled out of the game last week, and Deion's been non-committal this week about whether or not Shedeur Sanders will play. Has anybody heard an update on that this morning? Colorado at Utah. Utah's a 21-point favorite, but has anybody heard anything about Shedeur Sanders and whether or not he might play? I kind of like Utah either way, but if I knew for sure Shedeur Sanders wasn't playing, I would obviously like Utah a lot more. Has anybody heard Utah starting a walk-on QB today? Well, Utah hasn't had a QB all year, really. Utah's got probably the best lines of scrimmage in the Pac-12, and Colorado's got the worst. But has anybody heard an update on Shedeur for today? I'm going to take that as a no, because I don't see anybody saying anything about it in the chat. So I'm going to take that to mean Sanders probably sits. Utah man rolls regardless, says Philip Wells. Okay. Probably not going to bet on that game because of the uncertainty then around Shedeur Sanders, but for pick purposes, I'll take Utah at home. The Iron Bowl. Of course, you already know I really like Alabama in this one. I just don't think Auburn's got the pieces that Hugh Freeze needs. Hugh Freeze has proven he can beat Saban. He's done it several times when he was at Ole Miss. And I do think Hugh Freeze will get Auburn going in the right direction. But most importantly, he's got to have his guy at quarterback, whoever that is. If that's somebody they go get out of the portal, if it's somebody they develop, whatever. He's got to have a quarterback that can run his offense, and they do not have that this year. Alabama thinks they need style points. So, again, I know a lot of weird things have happened in this game. I know a lot of weird things happen at Jordan-Hare. I know this is a rivalry game. I like Alabama to cover the 13.5. Arizona at Arizona State. I'm going to go with my boy Zona Tucson. I'm going to say Arizona keeps it going. They get their 9th win. And they beat Arizona State by 2 touchdowns. BYU at Oklahoma State. I'm going to take Oklahoma State minus 16.5. BYU's a dumpster fire. Oklahoma State still has a chance to play in the Big 12 title game. I like Oklahoma State in that one. Vandy at Tennessee. I can't make up my mind on this one. Maybe Tennessee fans can help me, and I'm not even trolling. So Tennessee's a 27-point home favorite. So I think one of two things happens in this game. Tennessee has gotten its brains beat in for 2 weeks straight. Missouri and Georgia blew them out. Now, Vanderbilt's horrible. So I think one of two things happens in this game. Tennessee either continues the trend, they go into give-up mode. It's already a disappointing season. Beating Vanderbilt's not going to save the season. It's a letdown and a disappointment no matter what happens in this game. So for that reason, does Tennessee come out and just kind of go through the motions? Now, they're going to beat Vandy, but do they just kind of go through the motions and beat them by 2 or 3 touchdowns? Or do they look at this as, their last chance to put on a show for the season, and they come out and they, pedal to the metal, and Tennessee wins by 40? Because I think that could happen. Also, does Nico play in this game? Because there's a lot of talk amongst Tennessee fans about Nico, obviously. He's probably going to play in the bowl game. So do they give him some playing time in this game? And if they do, does that make it more likely Tennessee covers the 27 or less likely? So I'm not going to bet this game because I could see either scenario happening, honestly. I could see Tennessee just showing up and not giving a shit and winning by 14. Or I could see him coming out and going, you know what, this is the last game of the year. And they just come out and dominate and win by 4. I could see either thing happening. So for that reason, I'm not going to bet the game. But anyway. No, 4 games does not kill his red shirt. You can play in 4 games. And why you would want to redshirt him anyway, it shouldn't be if he's half as good as Tennessee fans are pretending that he is, he's only going to be in college for 3 years anyway. Whether you redshirt him this year or not would become irrelevant. I don't think the red shirt has anything to do with whether or not he plays. At all. Virginia Tech at Virginia, another in-state rivalry game. I like Virginia Tech on the road. Virginia Tech has been a much better team than Virginia over the course of the season. I'll take the Hokies by a field goal. Georgia Southern at App State. App State favored by 9.5. Say it ain't so. Give me my Statesboro boys. I'll take Georgia Southern in the 9.5 points. Keep it close, Georgia Southern. Come on. Washington State at Washington. I like Washington State plus 15.5. I don't know what's happened to Washington lately, but I'm selling my Washington stock. I think they do win the game, but I think they're going to get blown out by Oregon next week. I think Oregon is going to put it on them. I think they'll win today, but it comes to an end after today for Washington, and I think I'll take Washington State in the 15. Washington wins by 13. Florida State at Florida. I'm taking Florida in the 6.5 for all the reasons I've already discussed multiple times. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think this might be the most outside of Michigan, Ohio State. I think this is the most interesting game of the week. Everything on the line for Florida State, the injury situations, Florida playing for bowl eligibility. Billy Napier is Florida really going to end the season on a 5-game losing streak? If they lose this game, they do. Notre Dame at Stanford. I'm taking Stanford in the 26 points here. Outside of the first couple of games of the year and the Wake Forest game a couple of weeks ago, Sam Hartman has been a no-show at Notre Dame. I'm going to take Stanford to keep it closer than 26 at home against Notre Dame in a game that absolutely nobody's going to watch. West Virginia at Baylor. I really like West Virginia here. Baylor is one of the worst teams in the Power 5. Might be the worst team. Vandy, Baylor, Colorado. I'll take West Virginia and lay the 11. I like this one. I love West Virginia minus 11 there. Georgia at Georgia Tech. I never bet against Georgia. I just don't have it in me. But for pick purposes, I'll take Georgia Tech in the 24. I think Georgia gets out to a 3 or a 4 touchdown lead, probably either at halftime or early in the third quarter. And then I think they just go into turtle shell mode. I think they pull some of the starters, rest them for next week's game. I think it's going to be a lot of running the ball for Georgia in the second half, just trying to get out of this game as quick as they can with a win and no injuries. So I would take Georgia Tech in the 24 points for my pick, but of course I don't ever bet against Georgia. Clemson minus 7.5 on the road at South Carolina. I love Clemson here. Clemson is playing their best football of the season right now, I think, over the last couple of weeks. They're playing so good that Cade Klubnik didn't even throw an interception last week. You know how amazing that is? South Carolina is really, really bad. I think their last hoorah was last weekend at home in that 17-14 win over Kentucky. I think this one has potential to get away from them. I think Clemson could win this game by 2 or 3 touchdowns. Kansas at Cincinnati. Boy, I don't know about that one. I guess I'd lean Kansas. Iowa State at Kansas State. I'll take it. I'm going to... home game for Kansas. I guess I'd lean Kansas State there. North Carolina at NC State. I'm taking North Carolina on the road and laying the 2.5. Drake May's good for a bounce-back game. He did not play well last week against Clemson at all. I think he bounces back and has a good game this week. I like North Carolina to win on the road. There you go. There you go. What do you think about that? How you like them apples? My friends aren't losers. They all say take South Carolina. Well, you're a loser, Bandy Dandy. At least in terms of silly-ass bets you made with Uncle Lou. Thank you for your $100 donation, Vandy Dandy. And I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss. It is what it is. What are we eating today? I'm going to be honest. I've got no idea. None. This is always a weird week, a busy week. You know, kids out of school, Thanksgiving, games on all day on Friday when normally there's not. This week, it seems like this week has flown by, kind of got away from me a little. And I've done absolutely no planning or preparation for what I'm going to eat today. I literally have no idea. None. I guess I'll probably eat sandwiches for lunch. I don't know. Or we got or pizza left over from last night, maybe. I don't know. But as far as what I'm going to be snacking on or eating for the rest of the day during these games, I literally have no idea. Can anybody give me some ideas? Leftover Thanksgiving would be great. Here's the problem. The Thanksgiving that I go to is 2 hours away. And I did bring a to-go, a giant to-go thing home. But I already ate it. All of it. And I can't, back when I was younger, when my parents used to do Thanksgiving every year, I'd bring a to-go plate home Thursday night, and then Friday or Saturday, I'd go back, get me another to-go plate. But I'd have to drive 2 hours today to go get me another to-go plate. And here's the thing. When I was leaving, my aunt was like, you take your 2 plates. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I look like a slob in that. I don't want to do that. And then, immediately, on the ride home, I was like, why didn't you take 2 plates, man? So that's another screw up on me. I should have taken the 2 plates when it was offered, and I didn't. Only took the one, and it's long gone. I've been ate that. So that would be a great idea, the whole leftover Thanksgiving deal. And, of course, I'm not going to Dean Legge's house for leftover turkey sandwiches. I already told him thank you for the invite, Dean. But you had your opportunity last year, and you pissed it away, Dean. So I'm not coming this year. Sorry. Appreciate the invite, but no. And he's pretty upset about it. But now he knows how I felt last year. So, yeah, I should have took forget 2 plates. I should have took the over. I should have took 3 plates. Yeah, I'll take the over on 2.5 plates. Line me up with 3. That's what you're right. I should have done that. Who's Dean? Dean Legge. Yeah, Dean Legge. Dean Legge. Yeah. Yeah. Charcoal said, I missed the explanation if there was one, but did you decide to pack during the 3:30 game? Yes. Yes. And I did talk about that at the beginning of the stream. But so my plan all week was to stream noon Patreon, 3:30 YouTube, and then no primetime games so that I could get packed up for my trip and last minute stuff around the house. There's just too many games on at primetime for me to skip it. So I'm going to, contrary to what would be the best thing for me, time-wise, I'm throwing all that out the window, and I'm not going to stream the 3:30 games. I'm going to stream primetime on YouTube at 7 o'clock. Florida State comes on at 7. Something else comes on at 7:30. What is it? Anyway, there's a handful of good games. I feel like the primetime games are better than the 3:30 games, so I've swapped it around. And so, yes, 12 o'clock on Patreon, 7 o'clock on YouTube. That's the streaming schedule for the games for the rest of the day. So, Dogstruction 3. Uncle Lou, if Alabama loses to Georgia, would you say Georgia left him brain damage like we did Clemson? I don't know. Boy. Coffee. Wings midday and order some Papa John's for dinner. We did Papa John's for dinner last night. So pizza's off the table, but wings are always an option there. That's not a terrible idea either. 20th anniversary of 63-17 tonight at Woolly B. The giant upside down concrete cockroach. I love Rivalry Week. God, I love Rivalry Week. I just had some diced potatoes with gravy. That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. What else should I eat? Italian beef sandwiches from Portillo's. Mexican omelet and stuffed jalapenos. Stuffed jalapeno sounds good. The chance of Alabama beating Georgia in Atlanta this year is like Georgia Tech winning the national title. Wow. Yeah, and we know that's never happening. You might have some tater tots. I'm not going to lie. I love tater tots. I feel like a 4-year-old every time I eat them, but I don't care. I love tater tots. Jalapeno, you can't beat jalapeno. I absolutely love jalapeno poppers. I could eat them every Saturday, honestly. We do it 2 or 3 times every football season, but I could probably eat jalapenos poppers as a football snack every single Saturday. They are so good. They are so good. Homemade ones, I'm talking. Cut the jalapeno in half, hollow it out, stuff it with cream cheese, wrap it in bacon, put it in the oven. You cannot beat that. They are so good. Yeah, I don't know. With the Tommy Fries doesn't deliver, so the thing you got to go pick it up and all that. It's not convenient. I don't know what T-Bone's problem is, but they need to figure the shit out. They're not on Uber Eats. They're not on DoorDash. It's really aggravating. Not aggravating enough to make me stop going there to get Tommy Fries, but it is aggravating. It's 2023. You know, people don't want to leave their house, me especially. But like, get with the program, T-Bones. Get on DoorDash or Uber Eats. I would order Tommy Fries twice as many times as I do. And I already ordered a ridiculous number of times over the course of a year. I would do it twice as much if they would bring them to my door. What are they doing? I don't understand. That's like this other restaurant. Hey, what restaurant was that we wanted to go to and they were closed on Sunday? Oh, French Market. French Market West. French Market Grill West here, for those of y'all that live in the Augusta area. Closed on Sunday. How in the hell can you operate a successful, profitable restaurant when you're closed on Sunday? I don't, I mean, this shit don't make no sense. It made me really mad because I don't eat there very often, but I was like, ooh, French Market Grill. No, closed on Sunday. So how are you not open on Sunday? And how you, or if you're not on Uber Eats or DoorDash, what are you doing? What are you doing? That makes me fucking mad. The Lord's Day. There's a reason the Lord lets everybody out of the magic show by noon. And it's so they can go to the fucking restaurant. The Lord understands you have to eat even on Sunday. Yeah, I appreciate good trash talk around here, but you can leave the homophobia at the door. I'm going to be honest with you. In 2023, anytime I see somebody make a some kind of a gay joke or gay slur or something like that, they're closeted. That's just, there's no other. There's not another explanation. So come out of the closet, man. People are understanding and accepting and all that kind of stuff now. Lou, you someone an amazing streamer, Lou, in person, Lou. Thank you, Donald. You never heard the church called the Magic Show? It'll blow your mind, B-Bean. Used to call Pastor Dave the official YouTube magician. I still haven't seen the bicycle people. What? Oh, yeah. Bad Dog lives in like northern New York, and he says they don't have the the door-to-door people up there. No, I'm streaming today. Patreon at noon, YouTube at 7 o'clock. So Patreon for the early games, YouTube for the primetime games starting at 7. I've not had bagels with lox. I have had matzo ball soup. My in-laws make matzo ball soup all the time. To be honest with you, I really don't give a shit about the matzo balls. The broth is good, though. When they would make matzo ball soup, I would eat the broth the same way. Like, when you go to the Japanese restaurant and they bring you that dishwater soup, like I would eat matzo ball soup like that. Just nothing in it, just the broth. You know what I'm talking about at the Japanese restaurant? Like before they come out and cook in front of you, they bring you a salad and a bowl of dishwater soup. Like to me, that's matzo ball soup to me. I just take the matzo balls out of it. Yeah, dishwater soup. You know, you go to the hibachi place where they cook in front of you. Before they do the cooking routine, they bring you a salad and a bowl of dishwater soup. Somebody on game day is getting their head shaved by Pat McAfee. It's amazing. Speaking of getting their head shaved. Okay. Can I make an appointment for like 4 o'clock today? Or 5 o'clock? All right, thank you. Game day's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, for the Ohio State-Michigan game. And it turns out all the Michigan people were lying about boycotting game day. There's all kinds of people there. Who's timing people out? Every LSU game I go to, the corn dogs ask how I feel about Saban. I say, well, he's Catholic. Yeah, I don't know why someone timed you out for that. I don't know why. They shouldn't have timed you out for that. My dad just texted me saying he saw Ryan Day was going to Texas A&M. In other words, he's been on Twitter. Ryan Day will be the coach at Ohio State next year, no matter what happens in the game today. Jim Harbaugh will not be the coach at Michigan next year, no matter what happens in the game today. Glenn Schumann could be an A&M coach. Kyle says, I didn't think we were doing gay jokes. Not all Catholics are gay, Kyle. Just the clergy. Nick Saban being Catholic doesn't make him gay. Now, if he was a priest or whatever, maybe. What NFL team will Jim Harbaugh be coaching next year? I don't know. I probably hear the same rumors you do about the Raiders or Chicago or whatever. I don't have any idea, but I'm making my prediction that he just won't be at Michigan. And Ryan Day will be at Ohio State. That's my prediction for both of those coaches for next year. Yeah, I didn't know Saban was Catholic either. I don't know if that's true or not. Someone typed that. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't care what religion someone is or denomination or anything else. It doesn't affect me at all as long as they leave me alone about it. Harbaugh will join ESPN. I don't think Harbaugh's cut out for TV. I don't think Harbaugh's got the personality for TV. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Some network may hire him. I don't think he's got the personality for TV. My religion is college football. Yeah, me too, Hamilton, and I worship every Saturday during the fall. That's all right, Kyle. Don't worry about it. Harbaugh has as much personality as a can of paint. Yeah, and that's not a knock on his coaching ability or had anything to do with football at all. But TV is personality. I mean, you have to have knowledge. I mean, TV's hire these ex-coaches or ex-players for two things: knowledge of the game and personality. And you have to have both. You have to have both. You can be the most knowledgeable person on the planet when it comes to college football. If you don't have the personality for it, it's not going to work, you know. This guy just hates the ACC. We're not talking about the ACC. You are. I met Jim Harbaugh, and he's actually a very likable, friendly guy, says Texas Rocks. Should next year be Corso's last year? I don't have a problem with game day leaving Corso on until the day he dies. But I think Corso should only be brought out during the last 15 minutes of college game day when they're doing their picks. I don't like watching Corso stumble over his words and Kirk Herbstreit having to correct him every 5 seconds for 3 hours while he's sitting here breaking down games and storylines. He doesn't have that in him anymore. I love Lee Corso. I've been watching him put headgear on for 25 years, and I think it's great. And I think he's done a lot for the game of college football. But can't they just wheel him out for the last 15 minutes where they do the picks? I don't know. Meyer is kind of weird, but I like his analysis. I don't have a problem with Urban Meyer on TV. All right, it's 10:30. We're going to do the wheel in about 5 minutes. So if there's a reason you were waiting, get it in now. Every Cash App, every PayPal will get your name added to the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel. If the wheel picks your name, you make one pick today against a spread. If you get that pick right, I will send you back 5 times your money, up to $100. Tried to do $200 last week, but y'all got the game wrong. We'll do 5 times your money today, up to $100. So you send 20 and win, you get back 100. You send 5 and win, you get back 25. You send 10, you get 50. You get the deal. Everybody can do. It's pretty basic math. 5 times? What did I say? Yeah, 5 times your money, up to $100. Every Cash App, every PayPal, and we'll spin the wheel in about 5 minutes. Everybody that has sent a Cash App and a PayPal, I've got it. and we will go through and add all the names here in 5 minutes. There's the Cash App link. There's the PayPal link. So you got about 5 minutes to get it in. Don't say, y'all, my pick was right. The rigged wheel didn't pick me, says Zeus. Yeah, who was it? I forget who it was now last week. Oh, you know who it was last week? It was Huffer Billy Paul. He's a Clemson fan, but he took North Carolina and the points against Clemson, and Clemson ended up covering. Huffer Billy Paul's not a good gambler. Well, he does split tens, which is terrible. When he plays, he does split tens when he plays blackjack, which is horrible. Malzone Plain and College Station. Yeah, right. Goose Malzone to Texas A&M. Okay. You spelled Mike Elko wrong. Spelled Mike Elko wrong there. Just to change the run of the card. You know how you change the run of the cards? You sit out a hand. Not split tens. Is there a chance Kirby Smart leaves for A&M? Boy, if anybody had any doubt about you, you just answered it. Jesus. Oh, boy. Did you see Dolly in the cheerleader outfit? Yep, embarrassed herself 2 weeks in a row, didn't she? Be prepared to hear Tennessee fans claim next year is their year. Yeah, you know what's going to happen? The same thing that happened last year. Who remembers what happened last year in Tennessee's bowl game that made them so optimistic for this year? Does anybody remember exactly what it was? What was it about Tennessee's bowl game last year that made them so optimistic for this year? What was it? He said the Tar Heels will be favored over 90% of the SEC. Yeah, he's not very bright. Right. Joe Milton had a great game. Well, what do you think's going to happen this year in the bowl game? Tennessee's going to be matched up against some nobody. Nico's going to play. He's going to complete a pass, and that's going to be it. You're not going to be able to go anywhere on the internet for 8 months during the offseason without hearing Tennessee fans talk about Joe Milton winning 3 Heismans, 3 national titles, and going 45-0 over the next 3 years because he completed a pass in a bowl game. Same thing. And then Nico's going to play next year. He's not going to do well. Tennessee fans are going to cry. Yeah, Georgia and Clemson play week 1 in Atlanta. Yeah, I had Oregon too. I'm 3-1 so far this weekend, Colby. I hit on Ole Miss, Missouri, and Oregon, and I missed on the over/under Iowa, Nebraska. So I'm 3-1 so far for the weekend. How bad does Oregon beat the Huskies next week? I think it's going to be bad. I can tell you right now, whatever, I don't care what the spread is. I'm betting Oregon next week. I don't care what the spread is at all. I'm taking Oregon. The only game I've actually bet so far today is Auburn Alabama minus 13.5 against Auburn. But I'm going to bet several other games. I'll let you know which games I ended up betting when during the live streams. I really like Clemson. I'm probably going to bet the Clemson game. I like Clemson minus the points. $30-0 last time Tigers played under the spooky lights. Thomas Bailey likes Georgia Tech. Yeah, I don't ever bet against Georgia, but for my picks, I did take Georgia Tech into points. I think Georgia wins by 3 touchdowns. I don't know. I don't think Georgia covers the 24. Yeah, JC, I'll pull up the Cash Apps and the PayPals in a few minutes and add everybody to the wheel. Just a couple more minutes, and then we'll pull the wheel up. So last chance if you want to get on the wheel. Hey, what's up, Jackpot? Yeah, Travis, he cheated, and we planned out those shitty fumbles and Dabo's piss poor coaching. Seriously, Lou, not good to bet against Michael Penix. Well, if you've been betting against Michael Penix for the last 2 months, you've made a lot of money. When was the last time Washington covered a spread? Michael Penix has played himself right out of the Heisman Trophy race over the last 6 weeks. Florida State may not cover. Can't believe a top 4 team is favored so little over such a poor Florida team. It was 11.5 last week, but after the quarterback injuries, it's gone down to 6.5. Ever notice how a quarterback who transfers from the SEC to another conference just becomes a Heisman candidate? Well, it feels like you're just picking out one single example in Bo Nix. What about Joe Burrow? Couldn't get on the field in the Big Ten, comes to the SEC and has the best year any quarterback has ever had. What about JT Daniels? Leaves Georgia, goes to West Virginia, can't complete a pass. What about Devin Leary? Well, no, Devin Leary fits your mold better. He was good at NC State, sucked at Kentucky. Let's see. Who else has left the SEC and went somewhere else? UJ won't score over 35. Bobo might run the ball 40 times. I do think there'll be a lot of running the ball, especially in the second half if Georgia's up. Yep, Jalen Hurts is a Bo Nix example. Yeah, he left and was really good. Did DJ hurt your bet last night? I didn't even, you know what? I don't even know. I never even, let's see, what were his stats? Let's see. The only stat that matters is total yards. So let's see how the ukulele did. How did the ukulele do? MORNIN, 220 passing yards, 13 rushing yards. So that's 233 yards. So Cade Klubnik needs about 250 yards today to pass DJ ukulele in total yards, because they were about even. They were 20 yards apart in total yards heading into this weekend's games. DJ UiAgalelei and Cade Klubnik were about 20 yards apart in total yards, and DJ ended up with 233 yards. So if Cade Klubnik has a big game, Pete will win the bet. If Cade Klubnik shits the bed, Lou will win the bet. It's going to be close. Who do you think would be a better game, OU versus Texas? OU versus Texas? Oklahoma versus Texas or Ohio State versus Texas? What? Or are you talking about Oklahoma State versus Texas? I'd rather watch OU versus Texas just because of the whole rivalry aspect, but I think Texas would beat either one of them. Yeah, ended up being close too. DJ won the total touchdown bet between the two. Cade Klubnik won the completion percentage bet between the two. And the tiebreaker is total yards. And like I said, they're only separated by about 20 yards heading into this last weekend. And DJ, like we looked at, just had 233 yards. So Cade Klubnik, anything around that amount. And it's going to be really, really close. No matter what happens today, there's a team from Oklahoma about to get spanked next week, says Texas Rocks. Yeah, I think it's going to be Oklahoma State, but we'll see. Yeah, you get pressure on DJ Ukulele, and he folds right up. You could see it. Every time it was 3rd and 6 or longer last night for Oregon State, Oregon would send pressure. Oregon State couldn't pick it up, and it confused DJ every single time. He got nervous. Like I'm an idiot, and I could see it coming. 3rd and 6 or longer. Here comes the blitz. It's going to get there, and DJ's going to throw the ball away. And it happened over and over and over and over again. Oh, who saw DJ Uiagalelei get sacked by his younger brother last night? Who saw that? That's got to be embarrassing at Christmas dinner. Who saw that? DJ Uiagalelei got sacked by his younger brother. Dude, Lou, you're the nun who took the bet? What bet? We saw this shit a million times. What bet? The ukulele needs a new string before the combine. Knowing how trash he was. Knowing how trash who was? The DJ bet? Oh, I did good on the DJ bet. DJ versus Cade Klubnik? It couldn't be any more even. What are you talking about? It couldn't be any more even. It was a 3-part bet. Total touchdowns, completion percentage, and total yards. DJ won the total touchdown part of the bet. Cade won the completion percentage part of the bet. And only 20 yards separate DJ and Cade Klubnik in total yards. It couldn't have been a closer bet. Damn. You sound dumb. Typing it in all caps somehow makes it sound dumber, too. We missed on DJ how someone saw 5-star. I don't know. Well, he's the same as Klubnik. So did you miss on Klubnik too? There's no difference between the two. They couldn't be any more close. Must have missed on Klubnik too. I don't know. Plus, Klubnik's a turnover machine on top of that. Been here longer than you. As Oklahoma fan, I'm looking forward to the game, Ohio State versus Michigan, biggest game of the year. Yeah, it's going to be, I can't wait. That's going to be a great game. A great game. Where's Lou? I haven't seen him. Jesus, how hard is it to understand? No one has like 3 years of starting experience. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? Hey, who's better, Carson Beck or DJ UncleLouHere? Carson Beck's a first-year starter. What's Cade Klubnik's excuse, dipshit? Keep pounding on your keyboard, fucking retard. I think we can all agree that Bama is the best team in the nation. No. There's like 40% of Alabama fans think that. No one else. I've been watching Lou since his videos were super weird. They're still pretty weird, man. They're still pretty weird. Don't be salty because you bet on a senior QB to outperform a sophomore with less experience. Yeah, it sounds like I made the smart end of that bet, doesn't it? Sounds like I made the smart end of that bet. Finally, you get it. First Uncle Lou video I seen was when Miami lost to FIU and Alonzo was crying. Hey, all caps, man. DJ Klubnik fucking sucks. He's garbage. And he'll be garbage next year. And guess who he plays in the first game of the year next year? Georgia. And he's going to get his dick pushed in the dirt over and over and over again for 4 quarters. He's fucking garbage. Yeah, DJ Ukulele is garbage. He's not any good. He's not any good at all. That's the entire point. I don't think DJ Ukulele is some great quarterback, you fucking moron. That's the whole point, you dipshit. Jesus Christ, you're stupid. My God. Yeah, bet on him, and I'm going to win the bet. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't think Iowa or Nebraska are any good either, but I still bet on the Iowa-Nebraska game. What the fuck don't you understand? You don't bet, do you? You just type in all caps? Yeah, you don't bet. Betting that DJ Ukulele is going to beat Cade Klubnik in some stat category doesn't mean I think DJ Ukulele is a good quarterback. It means I know for a fact that Cade Klubnik is a fucking trash can, because he is. He is a fucking trash. They're both trash cans. Look how close they are. They're both garbage. What? How are you this confused? How are you this confused? Yeah, I'm salty because I went 3-1 betting games yesterday. I'm big mad. Jesus Christ. 5-star dummy? Yeah, we'll give him a 5-star dummy. Where is it? 5-star dummy. 5-star dummy. This is what we see every time you type something. Five-star dummy. 5-star dummy. Oh, shit. Five-star dummy. All right, y'all ready to do the wheel? Let me pull the wheel up. Let's pull the wheel up. All right, start with the Cash App. And we'll start with the Cash App. Jackpot. Naomi D. Fence Man. Fence Man about gave me a heart attack Thanksgiving night. JC. Kyle R. with 2 L's, though. William S. Jacob E. Jake 1248. Trey Bartolo. Yep, Trey Bartolo in that. The Nature Boy. Woo! Gotcha, Nature Boy. All right. PayPal. Let's see what we got. Zeus. He's taking Ohio State. There you go. All right. J.R. Got J.R. Swaggy Man. Hog Man. Hufferbilly Paw Man. I should see if I could add man to everybody's name. Colby Man. Colby, did you get that suit rented, buddy? Let me know. All right, there we go. Got everybody's name on the wheel. Now we need somebody to pick a number. Let's see. Who's it going to be today? How about you, Buffalo Harry? You feel like picking a number today? Between 3 and 5. A number between 3 and 5. Harry says 5. All right. We're going to spin the wheel 5 times. The 5th name is what we're looking for. JC. Spin number 2. Kyle with 2 L's. Spin number 3. JR with 6 R's. Spin number 4. Is it going to land on somebody's name with the word man in it? Here we go. Hogman. Spin number 4. All right. The 5th and final spin. Today's winner is... Ooh, that was close. Kyle with 2 L's. He says UNLV to cover. I'm going to have to look that up. UNLV. That's not Nevada. Nevada's a different team. UNLV. Somebody's way out on a limb here. UNLV minus 2.5 at home against San Jose State. In that. And 2. All right. So, Kyle with 2 L's. San Jose State minus 2.5. Good luck, Kyle, with 2 R's. 5 times your money. 5 times your money if UNLV can cover a measly 2.5 points. Good luck to you, sir. May the odds be ever in your favor. Big shout out to everybody who tuned in today. The last college kickoff show of the regular season. Don't worry, be back next Saturday for Conference Championship Saturday. And then we'll probably do a couple of these Saturday morning shows during bowl season too, depending on which days the bowls fall on. But this is the last kickoff show of the regular season. It goes by quick. It goes by quick. I had a good time hanging out this morning, though. I hope everybody enjoys their day of college football. Good luck to everybody's team today. I hope you all win. Unless you happen to be a Georgia Tech fan, in which case, you got to go ahead and tote the giant L. I'd like to take a second to remind everybody that Georgia is setting multiple records today. Georgia is out here making history. Make sure you tune into the Georgia game tonight. I'll be live streaming on YouTube for the primetime games, including Georgia and Georgia Tech. You don't want to miss it. It's not every day you get a chance to see a team make history, and you're going to get to see that today. With your 2-time defending and currently number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia is about to pass Bear Bryant for more consecutive wins than any other team in SEC history. That's right. Bear Bryant never won 29 games in a row. He just didn't. And tonight, Georgia will win its 29th game in a row, breaking the SEC all-time win streak record. Not only that, when Georgia beats Georgia Tech tonight, they will become the first team in college football history to go 12-0 in 3 straight regular seasons. Never been done before. So no matter how good your team is, no matter how good of a stretch your team has ever had. Your team has never gone 12-0, 3 regular seasons in a row. But Georgia, after tonight, will have. History in the making, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you tune in to LouTube tonight to help me celebrate the juggernaut that is the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, 12 o'clock, I'll be back for the Patreon stream. The link will be posted on Patreon around 11:50 or 11:55. There's a link to the Patreon page in the description of this video. We'll watch the Ohio State-Michigan game at noon over on Patreon. The YouTube stream will be tonight at 7 o'clock. Florida and Florida State kickoff at 7. Georgia and Georgia Tech at 7:30. So we will hang out starting tonight at 7 right here on this channel for all of the primetime games. So come hang out. We'll watch some good college football. Love you guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me this morning, and I will see you again soon. Have a good morning.